Fall camp is officially underway. Practice number 1 is in the books. Was Boo Carter out there? Who were the winners? Who were the losers? What about the quarterbacks? That and so much more. It's Thursday, Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is good, everybody? Welcome into it, your Thursday morning Locked On Vols. I am your host, Eric Cain, a member of the VolQuest.com team, bringing you Tennessee coverage each and every single day over at VolQuest.com. And, of course, right here on your number one Tennessee football podcast, news and entertainment. That is Locked On Vols. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every single day. Every day is welcome back. If you're new to the show, pull up a chair, give us a chance. All right, you're gonna love this show here in football season, bringing you entertainment and Tennessee news each and every single day of the football season, so on and so forth. Lots to get into here today. Some of my observations from Tennessee football practice number 1 of fall camp on Wednesday morning. Got a lot of them, so buckle up. We'll get into that in segment number 1. SEC strength of schedule. How bad is Tennessee's SEC strength of schedule? Well, we'll discuss that in segment number 2, but how that could benefit the Volunteers, that's coming up in segment number 2. Plus, the Locked On Top 100. Love this. How many Tennessee Volunteers were ranked inside the top 100 by a panel of the Locked On hosts? That's coming up in segment number 3. You don't want to miss that. All right, so here's the thing. I heard Josh and Swain, Josh Ward, Ward Wednesdays, heard Josh and Swain actually talking about this on the radio show on the way home. Everybody looks amazing day one. Okay, you're in helmets. Okay, you're not in shoulder pads yet. It's not full speed tackle to the ground. There's an acclimation period, and you got to start somewhere. And day one is just helmets, and so you're out there in helmets, jersey, and shorts. You're running around there. You better look athletic. You better look the best you've ever looked coming into this offseason, right? Because there's so many resources nowadays. I mean, you got to be so incredibly lazy. You have got to be so out of touch if you do not look or feel your best coming into fall camp than you have throughout the rest of your football career. Because at this level, there's just no excuse not to. So everybody passes the eye test day one, right? Or of course, if somebody had an offseason procedure and they were limited or whatever, like Lance Hurd was this time last year. But everybody looks better than they ever have. So a couple of guys to me that really passed the eye test, man, I don't know if he's a player. I don't know if he'll ever play, but Jeremiah Hurd, the redshirt freshman offensive lineman, was backing up Lance Hurd at left tackle during practice number 1. And sorry if you guys can hear that at the time of this recording here on a late afternoon of a Wednesday. There is a thunderstorm going on here in Knoxville, so hopefully the power stays put where it is. But Jeremiah Hurd looks great. He is 1,000% one of my first 5 off the bus. I hope he can turn into a player because he looks fantastic. Really, that entire left tackle position, because Lance Hurd obviously looks leaner. He looks healthier, looks more in shape. The left tackle position for Tennessee right now looks scary, right? I thought Jaden Perlotti and Jaden Harmon, first time we actually got to see them out on the field, I thought they moved around and looked, really, really good. I thought Rodarius Jackson and Travis Smith just continue to pass the eyeball test in terms of what they can be as true freshman wide receivers. And there's no time to be young, as Joey Halsey said yesterday, and no time at all to be young. I mean, they're going to have to step up. They're going to have to play because Tennessee, who, only has 7 scholarship wide receivers, was down to 6 day one with Chris Brazzell not practicing. Chris Brazzell's not going to be out for a long time, but he will miss the first couple of practices of fall camp, so that's something to monitor. A short, thin position group as is, already down 1, and albeit the most experienced one in Chris Brazzell, but still really, really good opportunity for everybody else involved. So I thought everybody looked really good. I thought David Hobbs looked noticeably different as he continues to put on some weight. I thought freshman Isaiah Campbell looked phenomenal, and he spoke to the media yesterday. I think that he continues to look just more mature beyond his years, right? Some other guys, got some work to do, like Ethan Utley. He came into practice, he told us at 271. He left at 264. So you lose weight during practice. That's common. A lot of that water weight through sweating and all that. He got to continue to bulk up a little bit, but I thought he looked good. But point is, everybody kind of passed the eye test a little bit. Number 2, this should be number 1. I probably shouldn't have buried the lead like this, but Boo Carter was with the team on Wednesday morning. He did not practice, so at least when the media was present. He was out there stretching while everybody else had a helmet on. He did not have a helmet on. He was stretching with his team, but when individual periods started and they went out to the Haslam practice field, they started in the indoor. He did not go out there. So obviously Josh Heupel, when he said he's got some things to do before he gets back on the field for us, he meant that literally, like before he gets back on the field, even the practice field. I kind of assumed that he would be, and I don't know if he's taking part in team meetings. I assume he is, but I assumed that he would have been taking part in practice, and there'd probably be a suspension there, first game or two of the season or whatever it is, right? I don't know. But right now, he didn't even practice with the team. So that is very, very noticeable. But he was with them. He did stretch. He just, I guess he was doing punishment run or something like that while the team was practicing. So that was kind of your Boo Carter update for the day. Jermod McCoy obviously not practicing, coming off a torn ACL. Chris Braswell, I mentioned him. Miles Kitzelman was in a red non-contact jersey, so he was doing individual with the tight ends, but they are taking it very, a precautionary measure with him. Not going to put him in a lot of contact stuff early on, just simply because they know what they have in him. Redshirt sophomore tight end, I guess he'd be a redshirt freshman. Now, redshirt freshman tight end Cole Harrison also did not practice here today for Tennessee. About the quarterbacks, right? I mean, to be completely honest with you, we did see practices periods 0 through 6, so that's the most practice that we're going to see. Later this morning, we're going to see practice. Period 0 through 4, but that's the most. That is the most practice that we're going to get to see here to begin fall camp. Sorry, I had to check a text message there that I thought was very, very important. But during that viewing period for us, I mean, they weren't letting the quarterbacks rip it, right? They didn't want to show us anything, if you will. Very intermediate, like routes on air, very intermediate, short to intermediate throws. Even with, routes on air with the receivers, very short to intermediate throws, a lot of fundamental work, and it's day one, right? I mean, that's expected. I thought from a mechanical footwork, that type of fundamental work, I thought Joey Aguilar was by and large well past Jake Merklinger and George MacIntyre, and that would make sense, right? He's played football for a long time. He has dropped back for a long time. He knows the fundamentals of the quarterback position. I think his throwing motion's a little bit different. I got to see it up close and personal yesterday. I think it's his release is really quick, but I do think it's a little bit different than the other two. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but I think the throwing motion's a little bit different. I think George MacIntyre's still loading up and throwing, like he's got to cut that down a little bit. George MacIntyre continues to throw the football better than he ever has. The staff worked with him, and just like they're working with GMAC to kind of change some things last year. I thought Merklinger, was the most accurate of the three on day one. But again, I wouldn't say any of them blew anybody out of the waters, right? I don't think that it was a bad day. I think it was day one. I think that there's some rust there. I think there's some sloppiness, and again, the energy appeared to be up there, but it was day one. So again, even though we got to see a lot more practice yesterday than we will the entire rest of fall camp, we didn't get to see a lot of the quarterbacks because they weren't like letting them rip. They weren't throwing into the end zone. They weren't doing one-on-ones. They weren't letting it rip down the field for routes on air. Just a lot of basic stuff. And so I'm intrigued to see if we get to see more of that coming up later this morning at practice here on a Thursday morning. So Jake Merklinger was probably the most accurate quarterback on day one, but again, didn't see an awful lot. Okay, to the offensive line. In drills, the starting offensive line, left tackle, left to right, starting at left tackle, Lance Hurd, Sam Pendleton, William Satterwhite, Wendell Moy, David Sanders Jr. Sam Pendleton was also getting reps at center. When Sam Pendleton was at center, Sham Umarov was at left guard. Again, if Sam Pendleton can prove that he can handle the center position in this offense, that might be the direction that Glenn Ellerbe and Tennessee wants to go to get the best five out there on the offensive line. But if they were playing a football game tomorrow, William Satterwhite would be your starting center. Jesse Perry was working inside. Bennett Warren was working on the outside at right tackle as well. Defensively, Rodney Garner, William Minge, they were in midseason form, right? A lot of fundamental work. The defensive line were hitting the bags, working under the cage a little bit. Linebackers were hitting the stance and steps, open field tackles, and not tackling, but just kind of walking through it, doing everything but tackling, working under the cage a little bit. Edwin Spillman, I think, is going to be a player. Arian Carter's the leader of this defense. No ifs, ands, buts about it. One of the leaders of this football team. Probably taking the rah-rah handle from Dylan Sampson last year. Jeremiah Teelander's experience now as a junior. Again, I like the Jadens. I like what I saw from Jaden Harmon and Jaden Perlotti. A lot of that's just the first time we got to actually see them out there. But this linebacker group, it's deeper now. It is, and Jordan Burns as well. It's deeper. So, again, they were in helmets. We didn't get to see an awful lot, but is what it is. And then in the secondary, with Boo Carter not out there, you had Jalen McMurray at star. You had Ricky Gibson and Colton Hood at corner, and your two safeties for the quote-unquote first team, first day, if you will. Andre Turrentine, and then Idris Farouk. Caleb Beasley was with the safeties. Again, talking about the eye test, man, I like seeing a lot of these young defensive backs, the Ty Redmonds, the Trey Platits, the Tim Merritts, the Sidney Waltons. A lot of those guys, man, they look good. They're long. They're athletic. They're tall. I think Ty Redmond, man, he can be really good at corner. Not this year, but I mean, just the makings of what you want in a cornerback, right? And so, again, a lot of eye tests, a lot of visuals. That's kind of what day one is. We're not going to learn an awful lot about anybody, especially the line of scrimmage play, until they put the pads on. But hopefully we get to see some more throwing and routes on air tomorrow, down the field a little bit. Hopefully we get to see a little bit more. But that was some of my observations. Boo Carter, the big one, he stretched, did not practice with the team. Where Jalen McMurray was at the star position for Boo Carter, Colton Hood at corner, a little bit of the quarterbacks. I wouldn't say a great day for the quarterbacks. It was day one, the typical missing high early in fall camp. But I do think that Joey Aguilar, from a footwork, from a drop back, from a hip, your flexibility in the hips, all that, you can tell he's done this before. That's for sure. But Jake Merklinger, I will say, was probably, in my opinion, the more accurate passer in day one. All right, they'll be back on the practice field later this morning. They'll practice Thursday. They'll have an off day on Friday. They'll practice Saturday and Sunday, off day Monday. They're going 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off. That's kind of the schedule for fall camp the rest of the way. All right, guys, when we come back, SEC strength of schedule, why Tennessee being towards the bottom of the 16 teams works perfectly into your favor. That's coming up next right here on a Locked On Vols Thursday show. If you're ever trying to stay on top of your routine, whether that's workouts, long days on campus, or staying focused through back-to-back classes, I'm talking to you college students, hydration is where it all starts. And that's where Drip Drop comes in. A Drip Drop is a doctor-developed and scientifically proven for fast hydrations. It uses the perfect balance of sodium electrolytes and glucose to help your body absorb fluids quickly, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of a leading sports drink. You know, for me, I'm not in college, right, but I'm on campus every single day. Fall camp is here. I just mentioned the last segments, 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off. I mean, that's my life for the next 3 weeks, right? So I'm on campus. I'm running around doing a bunch of different stuff, and I get that feeling, early to mid-afternoon where I'm so tired. I'm just dragging, right? I need to pick me up, and Drip Drop has become my go-to, especially in those long summer days when I just know that I'll be sweating it out. I mean, it is so hot on campus. It is so hot on campus right now, and I want to avoid that crash. So right now, Drip Drop is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first order. Just head on over to dripdrop.com and use the promo code LockedOnCollege. That is dripdrop.com, promo code LockedOnCollege, dripdrop.com, promo code LockedOnCollege for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard, or go ahead and stock up now because the heat's already hitting hard. That is at dripdrop.com. So we got the Locked On Top 100 coming up in segment number 3. You don't want to miss that, so stay tuned. How many Volunteers were ranked inside the top 100? We'll tell you here in about 8 to 9 minutes. But first, I do want to hit on a CBS Sports article kind of breaking down the ranking 1 through 16, the toughest SEC strength of schedule. And again, this is no surprise, right? I mean, there's no reason Tennessee fans should take slight to this, should be offended by this. We know Tennessee's schedule is not all that daunting. Now, here are the caveats, okay? Tennessee plays Georgia, Tennessee plays Alabama, and though Florida is down compared to where it was, Tennessee still plays Florida. I mean, you have those 3 teams on your schedule. I'm not going to say any schedule is easy, right? Especially when 2 of those 3 are on the road, and a place you haven't won since 2003. Tennessee at Alabama, third Saturday in October, Tennessee at Florida on November 22nd, the second to last game of the regular season before the home finale against Vanderbilt. So I'm not going to sit here and say Tennessee's schedule is easy. I'm not saying that because I think that'd be silly. But compared to the rest of the SEC, when you look at the whole schedule, it works in your favor. And that continues to go on with what we've been talking about all offseason, right? And it's easier said than done. I get all this. But look at how you got to the CFP last year. You played dominating defense on third downs, okay? You ran the football effectively, and you didn't turn the football over at the quarterback position. Nico made some plays. He absolutely did. I'm not sitting here saying he didn't or trying to minimize that. But statistically, there we go. Say that 10 times fast. You could say game manager. So if Tennessee follows that same recipe, plays a strong force on defense, I'm not saying you're going to have the SEC Offensive Player of the Year, but can you rush again for over 2,500 yards? History would tell me yes under Josh Heupel. And can you limit the turnovers from the quarterback position? Then matching with this schedule, you're going to have a great chance to win 9 games easily, in my opinion, and be pushing for a CFP spot and be pushing for 10 wins on that schedule because your schedule lines up well. CBS Sports ranks Tennessee 15 out of 16 in terms of strength of schedule in the SEC. This is what CBS Sports has to say about Tennessee's ranking of number 15. Quote, might Tennessee be a playoff team once again if the Volunteers take care of business at home and split road games against Alabama and Florida? They will have a clear runaway path to the CFP. The season opener against Syracuse is severely underrated on the national scene. I completely disagree with that. Trips to Mississippi State and Kentucky are laughers, and getting Arkansas and Vanderbilt at home should be easy wins, too. Circle the Week 3 game against Georgia at Neyland Stadium. We'll know if the Vols are legit contenders after that evening. Yeah, so for the most part, I completely agree with what was said. The Syracuse game being severely underrated on a national scene. I mean, again, we started our Scouting the Opponent series earlier this week. We talked Syracuse. We'll pick that back up and look at Tennessee's second game here, maybe on Friday. But nonetheless, I don't think Syracuse is good at all. I think Syracuse defense was not very good last year. They lost a lot on defense. I think Syracuse lost a really good quarterback, a great wide receiver, a great running back, a good tight end of the NFL, and lost 3 of 5 offensive linemen that transferred out. I think Syracuse is a bad football team, okay? I think Fran Brown did a phenomenal job last year. I think Kyle McCord had a great year. I think Syracuse was great offensively last year. But even with as good as offensively as Syracuse was, still only managed, 34, 33 points per game. The defense wasn't very good, and you lost everybody, and you didn't replenish the right way. So I think Tennessee is going to absolutely smack Syracuse in the opener. Does that mean Tennessee's this juggernaut team? I don't know. I just think Syracuse is not very good. But take care of Syracuse, sure. Georgia, we all know what a massive, massive opportunity Week 3. That game's at home, and that's great. We know getting to the playoffs, you need to probably, goodness, you need to take 2 of those 3 and then handle business the rest away, in my opinion. But nonetheless, we'll see what happens. But that's Tennessee's schedule. Tennessee plays on its schedule. And think about the SEC rankings and the predicted order of finish and all that. Tennessee plays on its schedule. Mississippi State, Arkansas, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, all those teams rank very, very low. In fact, according to the same article, the only team that is considered worse in terms of has a lower strength of schedule rating than Tennessee, according to CBS Sports, is Missouri. Right in front of Tennessee is Georgia, which is kind of funny because Georgia plays Tennessee, plays Alabama, and plays Texas. Kind of like Tennessee, though, you got a big 3 on that schedule. But Georgia gets 2 of those games at home, whereas Tennessee's on the road for 2 of those games. And Texas is obviously better than Florida. But Georgia does not play back-to-back road games all year long. Okay, but Georgia's ranked right in front of Tennessee. South Carolina is not on the schedule. Ole Miss is not on the schedule. It works in this favor though, because look, you got a lot of those games that are in the bottom half of the league in the predicted order of finish. But look at those teams as well, and look at their strength of schedule in terms of they're going to be beat up by the time they play Tennessee. They just came off a tough game. They got a tough game coming up. Vanderbilt, of course, has got the number 1 strength of schedule in the SEC, and Tennessee is going to play Vanderbilt the last game of the year. What's Vanderbilt look like by then? What's Diego Pavia look like by then, right? Mississippi State has got the 2nd highest rated strength of schedule. Arkansas has got the 3rd best strength of schedule. Oklahoma's got the 4th best strength of schedule. Florida has got the 5th best strength of schedule. So not only does this line up well for Tennessee in terms of how the schedule lays out, but Tennessee also gets the top 5 teams in the SEC in terms of strength of schedule on their schedule. So that helps them out. They're going to be beat up. They're going to be tired. They're going to be overlooking Tennessee potentially. I don't think anybody's going to try to overlook a Josh Heupel offense or right now a Tim Banks defense, but it is what it is. I mean, all of this kind of plays into Tennessee's favor, right? Easier to say on paper. It's why you play the games on the field between the lines. I recognize all that. But man, oh man, if Tennessee can play good defense, run the ball effectively, limit the turnovers offensively, the pass there, you got to win. You got to have a signature win. You got to handle business against Oklahoma at home on November the 1st. That game, the more and more I think about it, that game continues to be bigger and bigger and bigger at Neyland Stadium. You would absolutely love to split Florida on the road or Alabama on the road? Can you win for the first time since 2003 at one of those places? Man, if you win one of those games, that's awesome. Could you steal a Georgia in week 3? Probably not, but opportunities there for sure. So yeah, Tennessee's got the second worst strength of schedule in the SEC according to this article at CBS Sports. But hey, it works into Tennessee's favor. If Tennessee finishes 10-2 from the Southeastern Conference, they're most likely going to be in the college football playoff, in my opinion. If you finish 10-2 with a win over Alabama, that's right there in that conversation, it's going to carry you. Say you knock off Georgia. Where's Oklahoma at right now? All those things are going to play into Tennessee's college football playoff aspirations and resume builders. So I thought that was interesting. Wanted to bring it on the show. Again, things are lining up. You play the game between the lines on the field. I get all that, but things are lining up for Tennessee, albeit though you got questions at quarterback, at wide receiver, on the offensive line. I mean, you got tons of questions. Things are lining up to where at minimum, you can win 8 games, and I think Tennessee can be pushing for 10 wins in the regular season. Hey, when we come back, the top 100 for the Locked On Podcast Network. Can't wait to get to this segment. Really been looking forward to it. Hope you enjoy. How many Tennessee Volunteers are in the top 100? Find out. Coming up next. So a couple of weeks ago, the Locked On Podcast Network hosts on the College Channel, there's 62 active shows right now. We all voted for the top 100 college football players. You see lists on the MLB Network and the NFL Network and ESPN and On3 and all these different publications every single year give their, top 100 lists. And so, we're the fastest growing podcast network out there, and I can go on and on about all the accomplishments for Locked On here in the last couple of years under the great leadership of David Locke. But that's for another day. So, but point is, we decided to do that because why not? Right? I mean, why not? We consider ourselves right up there with everybody else. So we did it. And I will tell you, oh my gosh, is that hard? Is it hard to rank 100 players? I had to rank 100 players. All the other hosts had to rank 100 players. It is difficult. It is so incredibly difficult to do. In real time, I'm watching the Atlanta Braves get walked off in Kansas City. So that's fun. The Atlanta Braves are really bad. But here's how it panned out. Tennessee only got one player ranked inside the top 100. And honestly, I think that's right. Tell me I'm wrong. Of course, it's Jermod McCoy. Jermod McCoy comes in at number 15. Number 15 in the top 100. Not only is he a top 15 player, he's the number 1 cornerback. Hat tip and a courtesy to all my Locked On fellow hosts for recognizing that a healthy Jermod McCoy is the top cornerback in college football right now. That's how it was voted based on the top 100 rankings. Jermod McCoy, number 15 overall, the top ranked cornerback on this list. So that's awesome. But who else? Who else would be ranked inside the top 100? Again, guys, I mean, I try to give a positive spin to a lot of things, but I mean, it's not the end of the world, but nobody else would be in this. I mean, take last year's team, for example. Nico would likely be there based on like the arch hype, right? James Pierce would be, top 5. Jermod McCoy was an unknown back then. Cooper Mays would probably be in there. Brew McCoy might be in there. A couple different players, right? So Tennessee would probably have more on this list if we did it last year. But right now, Miles Kitselman maybe. That's about it. That's literally about it. So I'm fine with Tennessee only having one player on here. That's fine. But I do like the fact that Jermod McCoy was a top 15 player. I think that's really good. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to flash the graphics up here so you can see the top 100. I'm not going to go through them all. Top 10 highlighted by a couple of Ohio State players, Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs at 1-2. Cade Klubnik is the top quarterback on this list, coming in at number 6. I don't see how Garrett Nussmeier was not the top quarterback on this list, but whatever. He's 2 spots down at number 8. Look at a couple of the highlights again. Jermod McCoy here at number 15 overall. Lenore Sellers coming in there at 13. Drew Aller at Penn State coming in there at number 20. Look at 21 through 30. Sam Levitt at 21. DJ Lagway coming in there at 24. Francis Magnoa, the former Tennessee big-time offensive tackle recruit. Miami, of course. He's in there at number 23. You continue to go on now. Here's list 31 through 40. Arch Manning, and I'm proud of everybody else, too, for not putting Arch Manning in the top 10. There's some publications out there that have Arch Manning at number 1 entering the season. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I repeat, are you kidding me? Thank you. Hat tip to my fellow Locked On host for putting Arch Manning respectively where he needs to be, right? He's going to be a good player, right? He's showed out in little time that he's played. He comes in at number 31. I think that's about right. LT Overton, defensive lineman for Alabama there at 38. John Mateer, Oklahoma's quarterback at 37. Look at the top 40 through 50 here. KJ Bolden at 41, former Tennessee recruit. Whit Weeks, linebacker at 48. Look at the 50 through 60. CJ Allen, linebacker at Georgia's at 56. You've got Carson Beck at 63. Jaden Ott, running back, Oklahoma's there at 70. Austin Barber, offensive lineman for Florida's at 71. Luke Altmaier, Illinois quarterback at 79. Eli Stowers, the tight end for Vanderbilt's 81. Haynes King, one-time Tennessee target, 89. Georgia Tech quarterback. Carnell Tate, wide receiver, Ohio State, is at number 6 at one-time Tennessee targets. Harold Perkins comes in at number 100 overall, rounding out the Locked On Top 100. So, again, that's kind of I didn't list every single player, but you guys can go check it out. They're on social media as well. There's going to be some written work about it as well. But I did want to go through and quickly, I know we don't have much more time here, and rank and see how many players in the top 100 Tennessee's going to play this year. Georgia has 6 in the top 100. Alabama has 5 in the top 100. Florida has 5 in the top 100. Oklahoma has 3 in the top 100. And Vanderbilt has 1. I thought for sure Diego Pavia would be in the top 100. Hell, I voted for Diego Pavia to be in the top 100. Eli Stowers, though very deserving, tight end for Vanderbilt, is in there as well, is in there for representing the Commodores. Quickly, here's the list of players that Tennessee's going to play this year that's in the top 100. Ryan Williams at number 5 overall, wide receiver, Alabama. Caden Proctor, offensive tackle, Alabama, number 18. Rylan Wilson, linebacker, Georgia, number 19. DJ Lagway, quarterback at Florida, number 24. John Mateer, quarterback, Oklahoma, number 37. LT Overton, defensive lineman, Alabama, number 38. KJ Bolden, safety, Georgia, number 41. Parker Brailsford, offensive lineman, Alabama, number 47. Caleb Banks, defensive lineman for Florida, 49. CJ Allen, gosh, he's been there forever. One-time Tennessee recruit as well. Linebacker, Georgia, 56. Jake Slaughter, the center for Florida, comes in at 58. R. Mason Thomas, defensive lineman for Oklahoma, at 59. Tyreek Sapp, edge for Florida, 61. Dante London, linebacker for Alabama, 64. Jaden Ott, running back, Oklahoma, 70. Austin Barber, offensive lineman, Florida, 71. Eli Stowers, tight end, Vanderbilt, 81. Dayton Everett, defensive back for Georgia, 88. Nate Frazier, running back for Georgia, 90. And Oscar Delp, tight end for Georgia, coming in there at number 92. So, obviously, we talked strength of schedule in the previous segment. Tennessee's still playing a lot of good players this year, right? Again, I will never call Tennessee football schedule easy because you play Alabama, Florida, and Georgia every year, at least still right now. We'll see, what the future holds. But this goes to show you, even though Tennessee's the way it sets up and who's on their SEC slate, even non-conference of Syracuse, you're still playing a lot of good players here in the SEC. 5 in the top 100 for Alabama, Florida, 3 for Oklahoma, 1 for Vanderbilt, and 6 for Georgia. So I thought that was interesting. Hats off to my fellow hosts here on the Locked On Podcast Network on the college channel. This was fun. I hope we continue to do this. I hope we do I think we might be doing our own ranking system this football season. It's tough, man. This 100 was tough. But it was a whole lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed that. All right, when we come back tomorrow here on a Friday morning, I'll tell you what I saw from practice on Thursday, the latest with Boo Carter as that story continues to develop, all that and more. Maybe scouting the opponent as well coming up on your Friday show. Appreciate you guys, as always, making Locked On Vols your first listen, your first watch each and every single morning. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Tell your friends. Now is the time to be engaged with Locked On Vols. Camp is here. The season's right around the corner. It's a free listen Monday through Friday right here on Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys.